news about Greg Locke recently. Last week, I talked about how Trump was losing support from his die-hard followers, never give up on him kind of people, right? And he's losing support from them because he's been telling people to get vaccinated. Suddenly, his supporters have to choose between loving Donald Trump and believing that he was sent by God as a de facto messiah, and their hatred for vaccines, their anti-vax ideology. Now, two ideologies are clashing, ramming into each other, and a lot of people don't know where to go. I find it absolutely fascinating to watch different people react in different ways. For example, Shane Vaughn, I talked about this guy last week. He spoke out in support of Donald Trump and said, God sent this guy. If you speak out against Donald Trump, you're speaking out against God.
You know, they're losing faith in Donald Trump because of his stand on the vaccine. Let me correct you. You're not losing faith in Donald Trump because it was not Donald Trump that put Donald Trump in that office. 4 years before Donald Trump was ever known about running for office, Yahweh, the God of heaven, spoke through the mouth of a prophet and said that a man named Donald would be put into the White House, and that man Donald would be the servant of Yahweh to restore America. And guess what else that God said? That this man would serve 2 terms. So if you're losing faith in Donald Trump, you're really losing faith in the God that put him in office. And that's a dangerous thing.
But a lot of other supporters have gone a different way with this. Greg Locke has an interesting perspective on Donald Trump now that Trump has come out and supported vaccines multiple times. So I wanted to see what Greg Locke had to say about Donald Trump now that he's supported vaccines. But before I show that video, I want to give you guys a little lead up to it. I want to remind you of who Greg Locke is. This came out July 30th, 2020. This was about 5 months after the pandemic really started to hit. It was really getting serious at this point, and we started hearing words like social distancing and mask usage and things like that. We had never been through a worldwide pandemic before, most of us, and we had no idea how to handle it. So we were just sitting back and listening to the doctors and the CDC and trying to figure out what we should do. The CDC was telling us to wear masks. So what does Greg Locke do? He walks into a Dunkin' Donuts, and the Dunkin' Donuts guy tells him to wear a mask, and he loses his shit on the Dunkin' Donuts guy. Freaks out on him. Says, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not doing this. Goes completely nuts over how masks are useless and he's not going to wear one and all that other stuff. Give this a watch. This is him freaking out about it.
I'll go to jail over this situation. It is the golden calf.
No, you know what the golden calf is? Actually, it's not mask usage. The golden calf is literally a golden Trump statue. I just want to point that shit out. Donald Trump had a golden statue made of himself, and it showed up at a Republican convention. The last time people had a golden statue made, as far as I can remember, God didn't like it too much. But somehow, the party of Jesus doesn't seem to think that's an issue. I digress. Let's keep listening.
No, it's not just a mask. It's a compliance device. This is not about safety. This is about surrendering of our rights. Can I remind you, this is still the United States of America. This is not communism. This is not China. This ain't North Korea. I don't live in Haiti. I don't live some other country somewhere where I'm under the guise of communism and socialism. This is the United States of America. Y'all hear me? Trump 2020.
What you've done before today is not my concern.
Sorry, guys. There's a commercial. So while I try to figure out, what I'm going to do about this, I have one correction to make. He said that Trump. What did he say? Oh yeah, he said that Trump had that golden statue made. That's not true. Somebody else made it. Now the story that I got didn't have anything connected with Trump having done it. It was one of his fanatics that did it. and it was there at the convention. So he was being hyperbolic about that. But I want you guys to continue to listen to this recording, and then I'll have my comments, after. So please bear with me. Thank you.
Apologize for the level of cringe in that video, but we had to watch it. I just want to make it clear how much this guy loved Donald Trump. I really want to drive this point home. Let's watch another clip. This is from late 2020. This is after the election took place.
I'm telling you, Donald Trump, with 100% accuracy, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, lest I get shadow banned or my page is completely taken away, has won single-handedly the presidency of the United States of America in the biggest landslide victory in the history of this nation. I'm telling you, I'm not worried. I'm not fretting. I don't have basketball-sized ulcers. I'm not going to lose 1 second sleep over any of it. Joe Biden didn't win. He's not the president. He will never be the president. And come January the 20th, I'm telling you, I'll be bing, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner.
The dude loved Trump. He loved him deeply. That brings us to the recent events, early January 2022, after Trump has endorsed the vaccine. Not once, not twice, but at least a minimum of 3 times, Trump has come on stage in front of an audience and said, I want you to get your vaccines. Okay? How does Greg Locke feel about Donald Trump now?
So I'm going to say something. I don't care how ticked off you get. I'm going to say something. Listen to me. Stop. Everybody say stop. Stop sitting on your butt and waiting for Donald Trump to do something in this nation. Stop it.
That is a far cry from what we heard before, isn't it? This dude was leaning on Donald Trump as the new Messiah, effectively. That's how he viewed him. And suddenly, 2 ideologies are clashing with each other. His love for Donald Trump and his hatred for vaccines. And I guess the vaccine one won out at the end of the day. That is absolutely fascinating to watch. This dude was so obsessed with Donald Trump, so obsessed with him. We will get to more of it, but in a second. Let's keep watching.
He gave the evangelicals a mighty voice, and I'm glad. Whether he runs or not is on him, not on me. But I'm sick of Trump worship in this church.
You're the fucking one who started it. What are you talking about? You're sick of Trump worship. Are you kidding me? You're the one who started this shit. What is happening? We live in some fucking bizarro land where he's blaming everybody else for people loving Trump in his church, as if he wasn't the one that loved Trump first. What the fuck is going on right now? This is...
So I know for some of you guys, the language... But I'm showing this because this is a guy who's an unbeliever, but he's able to see something, even though his language is what some people would consider to be crude. He's still telling the truth. And if you let hinder you from being able to hear if there's any truth being said, then you guys are the one that are losing. That's why people will continue to not have any respect for Christians. And Christians are going to continue to fight each other. You're so caught up in politics that your eyes completely off of Jesus. So if you was Peter, you already be sinking, down in the water because your focus is not on the Lord. And I'm going to talk more about why I'm angry. So this video is kind of long. I'm going to see if I can, if there's a section where I'm going to move it forward. But if I don't, I'm still going to
care if he runs or not. It's irrelevant to him. He's ready to talk about Jesus effectively. Isn't that a stark difference from what it was just a few months ago?
Whether he runs or not is on him, not on me.
There's another commercial.
He was lied to and he knows it. And his arrogance won't let him change his mind.
He's starting to see all of the flaws in Donald Trump. He's starting a godly quality, if you will. That's not something that you would expect to find in a Messiah, right? Arrogance?
I'm telling you right now, on the authority of the Bible, if Donald Trump does not get out in front of this vaccine nonsense, he is going to lose his voter base in the next coming election. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Honestly, I think Donald Trump has already seriously damaged his credibility among a lot of evangelical voters by supporting the vaccine. I am so deeply glad and proud of Trump for endorsing the vaccine for two reasons. For one, he's going to save people's lives by encouraging a few of his supporters to get vaccinated. A few, at least. And number two is the number of people who are going to vote for him. It's a win-win situation in my eyes.
It's going to happen. I don't care how mad. Don't come back. I don't care. If you come here because I like Trump, you're in the wrong house anyhow. You better come here because I love Jesus.
Isn't that interesting? Suddenly it's all about Jesus. Not that long ago, it was all about Trump. The dude was nonstop talking about Trump.
I ain't playing these games. He needs to quit pushing this mess because the greatest president that
Leading ideologies fight it out. Greg Locke's belief system grew with Donald Trump's popularity. It kind of evolved into what it was in 2021. It slowly turned into what we saw right before he turned on Donald Trump. It was a mixture of QAnon and anti-vax ideology, COVID conspiracy theories, and pro-Trump propaganda, all this stuff all mixed into one big ideology. And suddenly there's an incongruence with one of the systems, one of the facets of the belief. Suddenly, he absolutely hates what Donald Trump is doing and doesn't want to hear the dude's name in his church anymore. It's absolutely fascinating to watch the break in the ideology. Watch the separation take place. This next clip came out in 2021. It should add a little bit of context to why he broke from Donald Trump when all of the vaccine stuff started coming out. Give this clip a listen.
I have not changed my stance. I haven't softened my stance. I have strengthened strictly my stance against the vaccine. It is not FDA approved. I don't care what Pfizer, I don't care what any of the four groups do out there. Look, if you think, all right, now we're going to jump into some realms. If you think for 1 minute that those political elites actually got that vaccination, you are smoking meth in your mama's basement.
That's one of his favorite sayings, smoking meth in your mama's basement. Yeah, the whole political elites thing that he said there, it's actually not even really a dog whistle. It's just loaded language that he uses that came straight out of QAnon. I mean, he's a deep QAnon believer. The political elites trope that he holds on to is also an old Jewish trope. The old blood libel thing where Jews used to be accused of eating babies and sacrificing kids to the gods and blah, blah, blah. All that old stuff from the 1700s, 1800s, that same blood libel accusation against people then. And now they're using the elites. And Greg Locke buys right into it. He believed it. And he spreads it. So when he says political elites, that's what he's talking about. He's referring to the elites that sacrifice children to their gods and stuff like that. It's the same trope.
If you think for 1 minute that those political elites actually got that vaccination, you are smoking meth in your mama's basement. Bunch of fake liars is what they are. They didn't shoot nothing in their arm but a bunch of sugar water.
If for some reason he had this bizarre idea that the vaccine was intentionally created specifically to hurt people. I don't know how he came to that conclusion or why or what evidence he used to get there. None, presumably, because there is none for that. But here we are. I mean, the dude seems to still believe it. And I guess at the end of the day, his anti-vax ideology won out over Trump. Absolutely fascinating. So there was a person in his church mid-September 2021 who wasn't really a big fan of how he treated and viewed Donald Trump. He didn't really like the level of love and adoration and worship that he gave to Donald Trump. Watch what happened when he found out that there was somebody who was concerned about the level of love he had for Donald Trump. Mid-September 2021.
We got some people under this tent right now. You have the hardest time keeping your mouth shut about your church. So I'm going to sit here for about 15 seconds and just give you a chance to leave anytime you want to. Because we need your seat anyhow, you complaining, judgmental Pharisee. You can leave anytime you want to. I'm just going to sit here for a minute and let you walk out. If you can call me out behind closed doors, why don't you be man up, put on your big boy pants, stand up and walk out right now in front of everybody, you coward. Whoa, I'm about fired up this morning. Turn this microphone up, I'm fired up. That's a big tent door. You can leave anytime you want to. You critical hypocrite, you Pharisee. If you think I'm going to stop just because you want me to, you have lost your mind. I'm just getting started good. I'm just now calling out Joe Biden. I'm just now preaching against the LGBTQ community. I'm just now calling out abortion. I'm just now talking about election fraud. I'm just now talking about Antifa and Black Lives Matter. I'm just now calling out this wicked nonsense. You might as well leave while everybody's clapping so nobody will see you.
4 months time. This was mid-September 2021. Now this last video about Trump came out basically early to mid-January 2022. So now we have 4 months time between when Greg Locke loved Donald Trump and was ready to throw anybody under the bus to continue talking about him in his church, to he hates Donald Trump and doesn't want to hear a word about him in his church. This isn't a new thing. This isn't something that Greg Locke just stumbled onto recently. And Greg Locke has always been fairly political. And the moment that Trump showed up on scene, Greg Locke started talking about him and building him up in his church. I mean, his church was effectively a Trump church for all intents and purposes. That is just about all he talked about. His religious ideology had Trump and Trumpism worked into it from day one. From the moment that Trump really hit the spotlight, that's how it's always been. So the fact that he's turning on him now is absolutely fascinating to me. This is the last clip I've got. This is from mid-November 2021, okay? Give this one a listen. It's about the 1-6 subpoena.
I got a message today and said, hey, Pastor, they just sent out their second round of investigation subpoenas for Nancy Pelosi's whatever, watch terror hit list that I'm on.
Okay, you know what's really interesting about this? He's talking about the January 6th subpoena lists. Like they were subpoenaing a bunch of people to testify in front of Congress and looking for their phone records and their text messages and all that other stuff. Interestingly enough, Greg Locke is not actually on the list so far. I mean, he hasn't been called in or his phone records haven't been pulled as far as I know. I mean, I'm not on the committee, so I have no fucking clue, but I haven't heard a single word about Greg Locke from the news coming out of the 1-6 committee that's investigating the January 6th events. So it seems to me what's actually happening here is Greg Locke is kind of ratting on himself. If he had just kept his mouth shut, I don't think anybody would have even realized he was there on the 6th of January. I certainly didn't realize until I saw this video. Keep listening.
And somebody said, are you okay? Did you get your subpoena yet? I said, nope, but I hope I do.
Oh, go ahead and act like a tough guy alpha male, Greg Locke. Yeah, act like an alpha male for us. Let's see what you have to say.
I said, nope, but I hope I do. You hear me? I hope I do. I can't wait to sit up in the halls of justice. Stand up to my feet and in the name of Jesus, rebuke that Jezebel demon baby. In the name of Jesus Christ on national TV. Don't you think I won't do it? Yes, I will.
Okay. I don't think they're really doing that. That's not how this is working. They're just pulling text messages from people and stuff. They're trying to follow a trail to see if you were there, to see what you did when you were there, to see if you got inside, if you broke any laws. And if you did, guess what? You get to go to jail. That's what happened to Jacob Chansley, for example. I mean, there's video evidence of him all over the inside of the Capitol. And sure enough, the dude went to jail over this. I think he got sentenced to like 4 years or just over 4 years, somewhere in there. That's probably what would happen with Greg Locke. I doubt there would be any like testifying or any of that, unless he is deeply involved in the planning and knew exactly what was supposed to happen, and it goes a lot higher than anybody thinks that it does. They would just be subpoenaing his text messages and throwing him in jail, as far as I know. I just think it's really strange that he is pretty much willing to go to jail for Donald Trump. I mean, the dude showed up on January 6th, presumably, based on what I'm hearing here. He seems to be telling us that he was there on January 6th, and he's expecting to go to jail over it. And he did all of it for Donald Trump. He did it all for Trump. And now, how does he feel about Donald Trump?
But I'm sick of Trump worship in this church.
Dude went from being willing to give up his life for Donald Trump to this. I guess he seems to believe that Trump has lost the mandate of heaven. I absolutely love to watch two ideologies clash in a person's head and watch to see which one wins out at the end of the day. American Choir Boy, Trump knew his voter base.
I'm going to pause it. Here, we're almost done, with the video. But he just really made a point that I want to highlight. And that is how the winds change. 1 minute you're fervently, for Trump, it's Trump, and nobody pretty big. That's a wide move. And these people don't even understand what they're doing. And when people who don't believe the same thing that they believe see this behavior, it scares them. And this is what people like Greg Locke don't want to understand, that they are justified in why they are afraid of him and want to defeat him and his ideology politically, and can eventually turn against Christians because of their religion, because it's not a religion of peace and love and Jesus. It's evil. And it seeks power, and it loves money. And so I'm tired. I'm tired of Christians not being able to see the truth about yourselves. And I have to change who I am as a human being in order to be able to live around human beings. That's how disgusting it is. And in order for me to survive, I've got to figure out how to do this, because identifying with our humanity doesn't seem to be working. And the way that I see it, if Christians have trouble identifying with each other in their humanity and in their sin, they'll do it with some people, like what they just finished doing with Trump. So anything else Trump did, all this other craziness that Trump did before, during, I don't know about after. I'm sure, after, because the Supreme Court just ruled against him, for some craziness he got going on, because he doesn't want the National Archives. This is a government organization. This is government run. And he's trying to block using presidential powers he doesn't even own anymore. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And this whole big mess that he got going on with this election, talking about he won. I mean, this is ridiculous. And it's embarrassing. And it's infuriating to see so-called followers of Jesus acting this way. I'm tired of listening to CRT, Black Lives Matter, and whatever else whoever has to complain about. You all need to sit down and shut up. These political parties are doing exactly what George Washington said that it was going to do. You guys are so fixated on your side that you're not paying attention. And this is, I don't know if I said this in other videos, but you're headed off a cliff. You're fighting each other as you're headed off of a cliff. And you don't even see where you're going. And each one thinks that their fight is justified when you're both wrong. Democrats and Republicans are equally as jacked up. Neither one can point at the other one and say who's worse. It's impossible. So I'm tired of listening to the argument because it doesn't make any sense anymore. I mean, we're to the point that you have people on the left, people who are supposed to support labor. I mean, if I didn't trust the left and anything else, I would have trusted them in labor, and now I can't even trust them on that. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. COVID has really shown me so much that I really honestly didn't want to know about this country. I'm doing everything I can to fight depression. I've been locked into it for so long now that the Lord has finally given me an opportunity to come out. And so if somebody's listening this long, thank you. Praise the Lord. And please pray for me to come out of this. He's really starting to pull me out. And I need some help. And I'm asking someone out there to please heal me. Let him heal me. Let him heal me. Be wise and make the steps and actions that I need to take to get me out of this, bad, dark place, that I've been in. And so I appreciate support. But yeah, I'm going to continue this video. I don't want to go too long on one. And I want to continue to talk about how we can continue to wake up to ourselves. We were talking about Devon and Megan and, different stuff, before, and we're going to continue this conversation. And I've got some scripture that I want to share, as well. So stay with me, please. I would appreciate it. And until the next video.